sweat of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. Toils of the brave and the sweat of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. Everybody, toils of the brave and the sweat of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. Toils of the brave and the sweat of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. Hey! Of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. Toils of the brave and the sweat of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. Everybody, toils of the brave and the sweat of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. Toils of the brave and the sweat of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. Hey! Of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. Toils of the brave and the sweat of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. Everybody, toils of the brave and the sweat of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. Toils of the brave and the sweat of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. Hey! Of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. Toils of the brave and the sweat of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. Everybody, toils of the brave and the sweat of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. Toils of the brave and the sweat. Of their labor, toils of the brave, which has brought results. All right, so let me read these two scriptures to be the foundation which I'm going to speak from. Psalm 11 verse 3. Psalm 11 verse 3. If the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 22 verse 28. Proverbs 22:28. It also says, do not remove the ancient landmarks which your fathers have set. But these two scriptures I read, it defines what I'm about to reveal to you. My nation, Ghana. The two things that happened to Ghana, the Republic of Ghana, as our spirituality or our foundation is concerned, is that these two things took place. Our foundations were tempered with, and I'll tell you what went on. Number two, and there are ancient landmarks that were removed unadvisably. And so it brought the nation to a place of, the nation was not well protected, even though the prayers of people were working. But as the foundation of the nation is concerned, we were wavering. So I'll start on this note. Ghana is not a Christian nation. Many of us think Ghana is a Christian nation. Ghana is not a Christian nation. Yes, about 70-something% are Christians. A nation that is said to be of one particular faith is a nation that is dedicated to that faith. As their foundation is concerned, it's a nation that is declared as that. Ghana is a secular nation. Please listen very carefully. Ghana is a secular nation. Ghana is not a Christian nation. Christians are more, followed by Muslims and traditions. Ghana, as our foundation is concerned, is more of a traditional nation. I'm not giving you the foundational truth and what went wrong and what is going on. Why God talked about the reset of the foundation. Why the introduction of the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service. So please listen carefully. The foundation of Ghana, or our land, Ghana, as it's concerned, is a traditional land. Is a traditional land. It is not a Christian land. It is not a Christian nation. It is not an Islamic nation. It is a traditional land. Ghana, as our foundation is concerned. Let me take you deeper. When President Nkrumah became the first president of Ghana in terms of independence, now the foundations were reset. So there were certain spiritual laws and blessings that were set up with our foundation. I'm not breaking it down for you. Before Nkrumah would say Jack, he was overthrown. So those things were not well implemented. Please listen very carefully. So what became the foundation of the nation is betrayal and bloodshed. Listen. And this polluted our foundation. So the blessings that the nation is supposed to walk in, just be patient, you understand. The blessings that the nation is supposed to enjoy and walk in will begin to slack in it from the time that the Nkrumah was overthrown. There were two forces of power that was controlling Ghana. The spirit of the Gold Coast and the spirit of the warrior king. Two. The spirit of the Gold Coast and the spirit of the warrior king. I'm not giving you history. Those are the things God revealed to me since 2008. And I keep fighting this matter that it should happen so that Ghana will come back to where God wanted it to be. The expression, Ghana is a gateway to Africa or the world, is not just a phrase. It is the spiritual truth. Many of you know it. But we derailed because of the errors that happened. Betrayal and bloodshed. The land was continuing to be pacified by the operations of our traditional leaders and traditional authorities. Please listen carefully. Along the line, when we Christians took more over and became more, our leaders don't have the understanding that they were being religious, not spiritual. It was a good thing they were trying to do, that Christ to take control of the nation. But this was the error. They did not deal with the matter of the foundation. They only handled the matter on religious, faith. So, the real foundation and its forces that's supposed to build the nation begin to fight back. Please listen. Let me give you a simple example before I give you the rest of the details. Sit down and check it. After Nkrumah, monies that have come to this nation, various leaders that have sat on the seat of government, none of them came because they want to destroy this nation. And again, when we hear the things they say, the development they want to develop the nation, the ideas they have, from Rawlings, Kufuor, Mills, etc., they all had good intention. They want to rebuild the nation. But question, when you look at the resources that have gone into our nation, do you see a proper end result in the nation? The development they speak and say with their mouth, and the monies they say they have popped into the nation, is there much that you can see physically? Certainly not. You know why? The foundation is destroyed, and the foundation is having a negative effect on the nation. I am not preaching to you. I'm not talking to you about Bible. I'm telling you what has gone wrong with the foundation of foundation. The assignment God gave me from 2006, and I continue to now, and I continue fighting that will come there, so that whatever God wants the nation to be, it should be. So you, the politician, listen to me. Listen very carefully. I'm not a social media content creator. I'm a servant that is sent. So from 2008, fast forward, God revealed the whole thing to me. And then God instructed me I should go and speak to President Mills. That time he was just a candidate. That these are the things that has gone wrong. And God said he has found President Mills faithful with a heart that can pursue the agenda step by step, so that the nation will, the foundation of the nation can be properly set, so that Ghana will come to the place of glory that he, God, have chosen Ghana to be. I hope you are following. In the things that God showed me over the years, God took me and showed me the foundational forces of the nation, i.e., the traditional authorities. And this is what took place. After the traditional authorities and their ritual performance was relegated, was pushed aside, please listen. In the beginning, I told you, Ghana is not a Christian nation. Ghana is not an Islamic nation. Ghana is a traditional nation. It's a traditional land. And tradition, in keeping a land pacified and well kept, there are rituals that they do to keep the land and the people and things to keep working. You ask the question, hey, you are apostle, you are talking about this. Yes, I'm an apostle, I'm talking about this, because that is the truth. So, when they push aside the traditionalists, you remember in the time of Rawlings, that when we are having a national thing, the traditionalists will come and pour libation and all those things. And we, the Christians, we felt like, oh, this is adultery. So we push it aside. They put that, gradually they put them as out. You remember? Now, the process of reset, which brought in the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service, was supposed to serve a purpose to replace certain things moving forward. But that was not done. Listen very carefully. So look at this. The pacification of the land and the keeping of the forces of the land of the nation Ghana, the spirit of the warrior king and the spirit of the Gold Coast. Things were no more activated. The land was not continually pacified because the pacification was done by our traditional heads. Listen. So when these things were relegated and pushed aside, it began to have a ripple effect on us, because the true authority owners, which are the traditional heads and their spiritual heads, because they are not performing what they are performing, their forces and themselves agree within as the nation is concerned, if you think I'm lying, let the nation do a survey and go and speak to these traditional authorities. They will tell you, especially the seat of government, where the seat of government is, or the seat of the state is, Accra. So because of the relegations of these things that they're supposed to do, we push it aside. It brought the nations and the foundation of the nation to a place of instability. This thing continued. It got to a time, you remember, before when President Kufuor became the president, before he left, you could see that predominantly Ghana were so porous traditionally. You see that this tradition against this one, a lot of porous situation were going on until Mills came on the scene. Because God started to try to rebuild the nation by using President Mills. I mean spiritually. So when President Mills came, you realize that's why he got the name Asujehine. All these things was because behind the scene, God have handed over whatever God said he should do, and the man was walking accordingly steadily for all those things to be corrected step by step. So when President Mills started the issue of the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service, it was the first step of resetting the foundation of the nation. Listen very carefully. In this plan, the traditionally supposed to have their play. Of course, not all put together. But when things are going to be done, there must be an opportunity and a time for the traditionally to do what they are supposed to do, because Ghana was not yet, the foundation was not yet reset or redirected. It was still the traditional land. Listen. So because all these traditional activities, rituals, and pacification were pushed aside, it left the land. It left the land of Ghana open to anything. So the spiritual foundation of the nation became porous. Any power, any spirit could penetrate and do whatever. Now it became worsened when now our politicians consult powers beyond the borders of our nation. Listen. Now there was introduction of other forces infiltrating the foundation of our nation. So other forces beyond the foundations of Ghana or the regions of Ghana spiritually had the chance now to infiltrate the spiritual foundation of our nation. So those spiritual forces begin to make a demand on our country as our foundation is concerned. Now, there have been incidents in Ghana that a lot of blood was shed, and many of us thought it was just an accident. They were not. Most of some of this blood that was, I don't want to mention that because I don't want to remind people of some pain. They were all demands that these forces, some of these politicians go and consult. That is the way they demand for payment of the blood of the Ghanaians, because we own them. When I continue, you understand when I was talking to the president, calling the president attention to the fact of the National Cathedral. I'll bring you there. So this infiltration make our foundation more porous. Fast forward, when God now brought President Mills, and now the issue of the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service came in, it was meant to help reset or put the foundation of Ghana, bring it out of that slavery and captivity to those forces that the politicians have sent the root and our foundation to form alliance with. You have no idea of what these our politicians are doing. Tonight I'm giving you what have led to what and why I'm still making the noise. So God brought Mills, and the issue of the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service came into the picture for these reasons. It was to help do the first stage of the resetting of the nation. And from what God revealed to me and some of the information that I shared and even some of the document that I shared before and now, the one I share with President Mills and the one I share with the office of the president during the time of the election, this information I'm about to share is part of it, unless they do not read the thing well. That from 2008 and on, God had 16 years plan of resetting the nation and bring the nation to the place of glory. And there were two people that God planned to use to start the whole thing. President Mills and President Akufo-Addo. Listen very carefully. During the time of Akufo-Addo, I was granted interview by Mami Grace, the program Revelation. And I was breaking things down to him, to her, and people. And many Ghanaians are not interested in some spiritual truth. When you are talking like this, they think that you are being superstitious. And it is so sad that to some of us, the Africans, we have belittled our intelligence to a extent that thinking that is the Europeans' intelligence, that is the life we need to lead. So when we are talking about ourselves and how we are supposed to operate, we think that we are speaking nonsense. We think that the knowledge of the Western world is that which we need to follow. That is the deception we are walking in, and that is why we are struggling. But Ghana will come to the place of glory. Mark it. Let me come back. So the plan of God was to use those two people, President Eva Santa Mills, may his soul rest in perfect peace. I love that man. Then President Akufo-Addo. These two persons were the two major people. Now you ask about why the things went wrong. That's what I'm trying to reveal to you now. President Akufo-Addo was part of God's plan. 18 years, 2 terms President Mills, 2 terms President Akufo-Addo. And both of them, had that which they're supposed to do as the reset of the foundation is concerned. In the time of President Mills, grace and prosperity are supposed to be done. Listen, when the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service is introduced, by our continuous doing of the service, then the instruction God gives, when we continue, it will now reset the foundation gradually. In the time of Mills, this was what's supposed to happen. Grace and wealth. That was the foundation that's supposed to be reset. The stones. Grace and wealth was supposed to be restored to the nations. And you saw that when President Mills started. I'm speaking like this because I know it, because I was the one who spoke to him, because I was the one who delivered the message to him. Now, let me bring Mahama in before I talk about Akufo-Addo. Tonight, I'm giving you certain spiritual truth about our nation. Mahama came into the picture because before President Mills will go to the other side, the family of President Mills, if you are hearing me, please forgive me. I am not trying to remind you pain. We need to build a nation. So permit me, please. So, before President Mills' demise, that time, the office, they were using the Osocaster. I've been there many times. God speaks, I go there with my team. And I remember on 2 or 3 occasions, when the Lord sent me to go there, I did not meet Mahama then. That time he was a vice president. But God gave me a message. This is what I do. When God gave me a message to go to the leaders, both oral and print. So I print it as a letter. Then I deliver the message also by oral. So if I go, I don't meet the person, I give the hard copy. That's how I do my things when God sent me. If they can check the archives of government from Osho Castle, they'll see some of my letters there. That time, my ministry, the missionary ministry name I was using is Allies of Christ Ministry. Allies of Christ Ministry. I changed the name during the registration. The name was taken already, so I have to change it. But it was Allies of Christ Ministry. That was the letterhead I was using then. So fast forward. So during that time, the Lord sent me and I went to the Osu Custom. I went there and delivered the message then about Vice President Mahama, now President. That the Lord said he should prepare himself. He's going to use him for great things. That time God never told me that President Mills will be gone and Mahama will take over. That was the message God gave me. So I delivered the message. In Osu Castle. That was the seat of government then. So I delivered the message. So a few months later, then President Mills went away. I said, Jesus Christ. So God, why did you tell me this was the whole thing? But that is God. There was a time that God used Elisha to give a woman a child. The child died. Elisha was in the presence of God, but God never told him that the child is dead. So God does what he wants. Just a little explanation. So now when President Mills was indeed, he started the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service as the covenant seal that is to activate the divine graces that the nation supposed to enjoy for the reset to take place. I hope you are following. So when this happened, when I'm now telling you how Mahama came into the picture, originally President Mahama was not in the picture at all. Originally. But he came into the picture because of this. So God now prepared Mahama to take over. And I believe in few interviews, President Mahama himself has confessed that he never thought he wanted to be a president. So that confirms a lot. So now when President Mahama became the president, he's supposed to continue the covenant seal, that is the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service. I don't know what happened because God did not reveal to me. I mean that what led to the changing of mind. But when they were not doing it, on many occasions, the Lord sent me. I went to the Jubilee House many times. When President Mahama now stopped the doing and the organizing of the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service, I was there. Many times God showed me the things that were going to happen, how things are going to be difficult, how during his time things are going to go, wayward. The doom saw all those things. We saw it. I went there, delivered the messages. By what happened those times, it means that what is happening today, that some of the ministers who are responsible of delivering the message to the president, they sit on it. Those were the same thing they did in those days. And then I keep on announcing to the nation. That was why I was doing it on my program called Divine Update. Going, talking to them that this thing you have stopped is a covenant over the nation that is to reset the foundation so that we get out of the error. So that Ghana will come to the place of glory that God has prepared it. They never listened. So all the negative thing that began to happen in the time of Mahama in the past was as the result of this. Because the covenant is to help to curtail all the errors so that it can be corrected. So now that which is supposed to hold the thing is removed. It's just like a lion. Let's say a lion, a devouring lion wanted to attack a place, and probably there's a fence of defense to hold all those wild animals from entering your yard and becoming a prey to the humans. Then that continues. You go to a time that you remove the fence. What do you think will happen? They will devour you. So that's what started happening. So during that time, that was even the first time. It was that time that I met Osu Bempa, the prophet Osu Bempa. That in the second term of Mills, that also Bempa was also working for Nanado to come to power. And that time I was also working for Mills to come to power. We did not start to do. By the things God revealed. And when even Akufo-Addo lost the first time, I remember vividly that I've not met Osu Bempa yet. And he was saying that all the things he saying is true. It's supposed to happen. You don't know what is going on. And I was saying in my prayer room, I said, yes, you don't know what is going on. It is because you are seeing right that Anando is supposed to be a president, but you are not seeing what the foundation of the nation is about. So finally, the Lord asked me to go and see Osu Bempa that time. So I went to his church. He gave me audience, a nice guy, a nice guy. He invited me home. I went to his house. We sat down, we talked, and I explained to him what actually was happening in the first term of Mills, why Mahama Akufo-Addo lost the election. These are the things that were going. I don't know whether you can remember me. You can remember me now. That time I was very slim. So I spoke to him and I explained to him that this is what is going on, so that there will not be too much interference in the realms that will keep on fighting the nation. So then also Bempa said, oh, okay. Uminia, that's the way he said. Uminia, that man is a very humble man. He's a nice man. He's a nice man. So he listened to me and we sat, we spoke. I shared with him some few informations, etc. Let me catch that side. So now, back to Mahama. While President Mahama was brought back, is this. You see, when he was finishing up the terms of Mills, which if the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service did continue, that the first foundational stone will be reset for Akufo-Addo to do the second, third, fourth foundational, corrections, which will bring Ghana to the place of glory. During the time that Mahama took over, he mistakenly stopped the covenant. That's why I keep telling people, the National Prayer and Thanksgiving is not a church matter. It's not a church service. It's a spiritual seal. That when it is done, God by his own power will do the resetting spiritually. All we need to do, just like when we go to traditional sectors, the point of the libation, the drinks they pour, it's not the drink does nothing. The drinks are just medium to activate. The drinks don't carry power. The food they share, it doesn't carry power. They are just a way to activate things. By the way, I come from a royal home also. So, the National Prayer and Thanksgiving was supposed to be the seal of activation. You understand? So, during the time that Mahama took over, the service was pushed aside. So it brought the nation back into the state of porous again. You understand? The covenant that's supposed to work for us, now we went back again. So before Akufo-Addo became a president, I pursued the matter again. When the time of Mills was over, the 8 years was over, and Nanado was supposed to come, that also I pursued the matter of the restoration of the National Prayer. I went to his house, I pursued, went to his office, I did everything possible to get him also. I met Gabi Ochri, is it Gabi something, I forgot his name, met him at his office, all those places. To share with him also that if you are coming back, this is the error. So when you come back, you also come and correct it so that we can move forward. That was when I went to my Miss Grace program and I want to speak about it. And during that time, it was then because our foundation was porous. Let me not touch on the COVID issue. Many broadcasters and men of God were saying that if the prophets say they see, why didn't they see COVID? I don't know whether those broadcasts are still on my Facebook page. Go and check and see. Because we had an assignment towards the nation, the Lord told us, we spoke about it, the way it's going to increase, how things are going to be, we spoke about it. And because of the breaking of this shield over the nation became porous again. So during the time of Akufo-Addo, the turn of Akufo-Addo supposed to be the turn of policy making. In the time of Akufo-Addo, Akufo-Addo performed badly in context because the foundation was still wrong. The forces were still at play. So the man was derailed. Listen very carefully. Now I'm jeering into the National Cathedral. Listen very carefully. Because we're in a covenant era, before Akufo-Addo become a president, because it was the covenant spirit that was at work over the nation, it was the covenant spirit that led Akufo-Addo, and also Bempa know much about this matter. He knows I'm speaking the truth. I've not been there, but I saw everything, and he knows what I'm speaking is true. I'm not trying to tag him on any bad thing. No, we are trying to save the nation, so the whole truth need to be said so that we can help Ghana. So President Nana Addo, also not knowing the truth and were also not listening. His close friend, who was a doctor during the time of campaign, came to me. We met, hand over certain information to him. The man also went and used the information for his own good. The earth, God gave it for man. When God created the earth, and God gave the dominionship and audacity to man. So the earth realm, the jurisdictional authorities is human being. So God will not do anything on earth except to use the human being. So sometimes we'll ask a question, why is it that God cannot pass everybody and do what he wants? Oh, please, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So now what happened indeed is that when President Akufo-Addo also became the president, today I need to share with you everything so that you understand from way forward. So that I'll not visit this thing. It's what will help ourselves. So when President Akufo-Addo also became the president, we did everything possible to visit him and make him know. The men around him also did the same thing, even including his own, his own driver, a close friend of his. The man also did everything possible so that the president will hear. The cartel movement, as Mahama is experiencing during the time of Akufo-Addo, also happened. So they never listen. So when you go to my Facebook page, some of these broadcasts is there. Then the Lord continued to say that no, if we don't correct this thing, our foundation is open, things will still continue to happen. So I continue hammering on this matter, the foundation, we should correct it, if not Ghana. Then I remember, I think 2022 or so, 2020, the Lord said I should tell Akufo-Addo respectfully that they will work, but their effort will be like pouring water on a sinking sand or pouring water in a basket. Do you think it's for nothing that during the time of the Akufo-Addo government, they were bragging of the things they have done? Because to them, they think they have done something, but the Ghanaians were not seeing it. And God said that time that they will work and Ghanaians will never see it. Go and check it. I think I made us to take a little bit of that information. I share it on my TikTok account. That they will work, but Ghanaians will never see it. So it was in the time of Mahama finishing Mrs. term. Why? It was because the foundation were not corrected. Things has gone wrong. Some of you who don't have understanding on traditional issues and issues of foundation, let me touch on this a little. You can find out from chiefs that you know, even in families. You realize that families that suffer from a lot of things, maybe marital issues and all those things, it is due because something went wrong. Probably they want marriage and there must be exchange. When it comes to spiritual things, there is always an exchange. It's just like a barter system. So maybe you people have you are fertile, marriage is not there, so you have to exchange. Okay, so take the fertility and give us marriage. So that's how things are done spiritually in the foundational matters. So in families, you could see that some people, they can produce children now, but they are poor. It means that there has been an exchange of your riches to getting children. In Africa, that is what it is. You cannot compare us to the Europeans. So it will be unwise to say, but in the Europeans, it's not like that. It cannot be like that because they are not us. Just to give you a little bit of explanation. So when this thing continued, during the time of Akufo-Addo, things became messed up. The man got confused. He did not know what to do. That's how come things went bizarre, because he did not know what is going on. If I pray that maybe one media house should grant interview to Akufo-Addo, so that you find out from him the things this man experienced. Then you know some of the things I'm telling you is true. It got to a time Akufo-Addo got confused because they are putting in every effort, but nothing. People keep on complaining. Things look, they don't understand. It was simply because the foundation was still not working. So now, why is Mahama in the picture again? President Mahama came into the picture again because it was his finishing the terms of Akufo-Addo, of President Mills, that the covenant was put aside, that the covenant of the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service was put aside. So God brought President Mahama back so that those things can be corrected, because it was during his turn that it went wrong. And since he's alive, he should be the person that he has to use to reset the whole thing again. Do you understand now? So those who follow me during the time of the campaign, I keep explaining that President Mahama coming back is not because he's a choicest candidate above all. It's not because he was better than everybody knew, but it was because of the restoration of the covenant. So President Mahama won the election because of his alluded obedience to the restoration of the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service. Just that the minister which I was speaking to and dealing with, they misinformed him. And President Mahama presented the whole thing as if when he comes, there must be an introduction of the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service. That was an error, because that was not it. It's supposed to be that I broke a covenant, and by obedience, the nation will restore it. That is the act of repentance that God wanted from the nation. Why? So that the foundation can be recorrected, put us back on the track. Then that which God wants to do with us will begin to experience it. Most of you, the politicians that is following, and some of you, the bishops that are following, that I don't want to be mentioning his name anymore, that you are following and backing and supporting that minister that misled the president. You think it's a small thing that man had done? That man has cost the nation big time. He has caused the nation a big harm. So when President Mahama comes back, then the restoration, then now our foundation stones are well settled. Are you following? So the day of the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service, there were certain activities that's supposed to be done. And those activities were what supposed to reset the foundation, to correct the errors that took place in the past, to bring the nation back into the right footing, so that we now will enjoy the blessings that the nation is supposed to carry on
during or from the time of Nkrumah, which is the spirit of the Gold Coast and the spirit of the warrior king, the spirit of the Gold Coast will manifest in wealth. That's why recently God gave a little bit of that information to Usu Bempa and one other young prophet. But we announced this long time, that when we reset the foundation, you see, God keep repeating the things to other prophets so that our nation will come back to the understanding. But still, we are not listening. So, President Mahama was supposed to restart the National Prayer and Thanksgiving service as a correction. Then the nation's foundation will begin to go into the process of resetting. And the reset will begin to take place when the various activities were done, which predominantly was to be done by our traditionalists. Listen. It was the continuous service that our ministers, that is, men of God and the Muslims, are supposed to continue. But the main event was supposed to be done by our traditionalists. Because the error was committed or the foundation was destroyed because the things that the traditionalists were doing to keep the land and the activation of the things of the land were relegated. So there was a fight. So they were supposed to do some things on that day of the National Prayer and Thanksgiving service so that those errors will be corrected. Then forgiveness will take place. There will be pacification. Then the land will be purified. They will get out of the woods. Then I will continue with the covenant still, the National Prayer and Thanksgiving service. So now you see, you those who think that I was making noise, you think that minister who lied out of mischief, you people thought that he was rather the right person. Me, I'm trying to take advantage. This is the whole truth, as I'm sharing. So, beloved, this is the reason why President Mahama, God brought him back. So that through him, the error can be corrected. And the nation will come back to the place of reset. That the blessings that the nation is to enjoy will begin to enjoy them. As it stands now, our foundation has not been corrected. And some of you who followed me from the beginning, I keep having, which I spoke about yesterday, so I won't go into it. That I keep coming back talking about, that look, the grace period God gave us to be cushioning us until we correct the thing, then those things will be over. The grace period is getting over. So affliction, there will be strange affliction starting. It was starting small. Those who was trying to come back. And all those, but people were praying, God's mercy, God mercy. And so mercy and grace was at work. But it was a period of time. So I came back announcing to the nation. But these people were still not listening. They thought I'm seeking an attention. Look, I've spoke to people, influential people who are closer to the president, his own friends. I visited them, we spoke to them, did everything. But men, mischievous men, who are concerned about their stomach, not the nation, we're still manipulating things. Before I continue, yesterday I told you pray for President Mahama. That yes, when this happen, we get into shock. If I did not send this minister, this could not have happened. But what is happening to President Mahama is beyond that. Please, let's pray for him. that God will strengthen him, because we still need him to do the right thing, to lead the nation to do the right thing, so that the nation will come back to the place of footing. Both opposition and every one of us, we need to stand with this man. This is not about politics. Because if President Mahama did not lead us to do this right thing, whoever you think you are that you want to be a president, you not perform. We keep saying it. Akufo-Addo came. He do portal because the right thing was not done. So if we can come back together as a nation and as people, rally behind President Mahama, so that the foundation will be reset. When the foundation is reset, whoever becomes a president, whatever effort you put in, Ghana will be well developed. But as long as the foundations are not reset, no matter who comes and sit on the seat, you won't perform foco. You see now, they say dollar and whatever is happening is coming down, inflation is coming down. It is just a grace period. If they like, we should continue working in disobedience and not do the things so that the nation will be reset. Trust me, things will begin to reverse. I don't care what you come and say that to fiaka to over you. I'm not bragging. Just sharing with you. Now, let me now enter the issue of the National Cathedral. Then I will run up everything. Because when Nana Addo became the president, that time it was the spirit of covenants that was at play. And I repeat again, the prophet also Bemba knows much about this. And Prof, for me, I encountered you. I know you are a good man. I know you are angry with the MPP political party, but truth is truth. I won't say much. You understand what I'm saying? So how come Nana Addo now make a vow of National Cathedral? Listen very carefully. Now take off all your political senses and listen. During the time that President Akufo-Addo made a promise and a vow, it was because during that time, the spiritual atmosphere of the nation was covenant spirit. The covenant of the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service, if the right thing could have continued, listen, the building of National Cathedral was to be an addition of a covenant activation. Listen, one of the errors that took place, that was fighting the foundation of the nation, is sensitive, I'm going to say it, was the bloodshed of some of the judges. Listen. So one of the blood that was fighting the foundation of the nation was the blood pouring of the judges during the revolutionary era. So those blood was speaking against the nation and was fighting the nation. And some of the betrayal that went also, the blood of the ancestors of this land was fighting us. The third one that was chosen, I bet all of you, the traditional heads, and your Wulomos, and all your spiritual heads, go and check if I am lying. I won't talk to prophets, but all the spiritual heads of the traditional these days, they should go and check if what I'm saying is a lie. So the blood of these leaders was fighting us because Accra is the land or the seat of government. So the blood of these people that were betrayed was fighting the nation and was crying against the nation. So when Akufo-Addo made a vow that he will build a national cathedral, It was not a mere issue of building, how you people, some of you people are talking about building a church, ignorant people. These are serious matters. So, Akufo-Addo being driven to make that vow, it was not a literal vow. It was a thing to correct the error and also pacify and, the authority of what will be done will not come. Will not come. The blood and the forces of the blood of these judges and people that are rising up against the nation, it will not pacify it and end the effect on the nation. That was why when they were not able to do it, please, all the things that were trying to happen to fight even the building of the cathedral, they are all forces that are fighting to make sure we don't do this, so that Ghana will continue to be in the woods. Because all the bishops and the spiritual head that were Akufo-Addo chose to manage the building of the National Cathedral, if they will speak the truth, what actually made them to resign? If they say it's an embezzlement, it's a lie. They did not even know why they resigned, many of them. It was petty issues. We see. Because forces were at play to make sure that Ghana will remain and not bounce back. You see, you the little spiritual people, don't make noise. Keep quiet, because you don't understand what we are talking about. Both traditional people who are spiritual men, they can come and confirm what I'm telling you. That these things I'm sharing with you is true. When I went to see one of the chiefs in Accra here, i.e. to reach to the president, the day I was sharing some of the information with the man was looking at me like this, because I'm an apostle. So he was surprised that an apostle is talking about these traditional things and things that were going wrong. They were looking at me like that. They were surprised because they knew what is wrong. So the issue of the National Cathedral, it is not a mere matter. It was to help deal with the issue of the reset, i.e., dominionship will be exercised so that the voice of accusation from the blood of these judges can be curtailed. So it wasn't a mere thing. For me, I am sent, I'll share the information with you. This issue of National Cathedral started not today. I never come out to speak. Because when Father said I should speak, that is when I speak. That's why today I'm sharing. Today, the Lord asked me to say everything, just to exempt some of the things that I sent it. I need to share with President Mahama. So please, in connection to the National Cathedral, please, it is not a mere issue. So please stop treating it as it is a promise by President Akufo-Addo did. So what has Mahama done? All of you, the politicians that is around Mahama, and you are making this, trust me, respectfully, you don't have understanding. Don't play politics with everything. Some of you that are speaking, you are young men, 40, all those people, you are young people. Of course, I'm older than all of them. I'm in my 50 plus, going to 60 years. You don't understand spiritual things. You take everything is book. You come and make noise. Be very careful. So the issue of the National Cathedral, also you see, they are all covenant things that God was inspiring his leaders step by step to help reset the foundation of the nation. I don't want to get into the political talking about the National Cathedral. I am to speak about the spiritual things that these things are concerned. But that is not what God sent me to do tonight. So the issue of the National Cathedral, they are all issue of covenants. And remember, I told you from the beginning, God chose two leaders, Mills and Anado. Mahama came to the picture because there was an error and it had to be repeated so that the error can be corrected. But truthfully, it was Mills and Anado that God wanted to use to correct his issues as the foundation of the nation is concerned. So, I appeal to you, Mr. President John Dramani Mahama. Trust me. What is around you is a serious matter. Your coming back is a serious matter. It is not a political issue. Don't gear into those things. Trust me, Mr. President. You are sitting on a time bomb. I am not creating fear and panic. I am telling you the truth. If you could have met long ago, trust me, some of these things, Mr. President, if we don't do the right thing now, Mr. President will be you will break down. Because more things are going to happen and guilt will kill you. It will break you down. And I keep repeating, if that minister was not mischievous and we did the right thing from the beginning, like, trust me, where Ghana, the speed of our development, because most of the things, most of the project and the support we are getting from nations, go and check my bio. From the beginning, when God was talking about the reset, Dubai, all those places, we mentioned the God show. We said everything, how it's going to unfold. The Lord said everything. Go back, check my bio. All the information is there. And I did it live as this. I'm not bragging, no. I'm just calling our attention to something. That if you could have listened from the beginning, trust me, the speed in which Ghana is supposed to go in development, the grace that was supposed to release on us, you have no idea. We just needed to be obedient. But one human being, out of mischief and self-seeking, has brought the nation to this place. Mr. President and your wife, please, what happened on Tuesday is just a wake-up call. As painful as it is, please, let's show the humility of heart and let's get it and do the right thing. So to crown on the National Cathedral issue, please, Mr. President, it doesn't matter the good ideas you may develop. Do not touch the National Cathedral. You touch it again, the foundations will still be in problem. When it comes to covenants, even about nations, God usually uses a leader, not everybody. That is how God works. Let your pastors explain this to you. The chiefs, as friends, let them explain these issues of covenant to you. About nations, God uses a leader, one, They don't do consultation. They don't sit down with everybody and say, okay, you know, I want to vow for this. So what do you think? That does not happen. It is an inspiration. God inspire you, the leader, and you do it. So what is the right thing to be done? The right thing that needs to be done, as I speak, as I keep saying, the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service, there are some things that were supposed to be done during the service for the researching of the foundation. Number 2, it was by covenant. It was not a yearly thing. It's supposed, the continuous service is supposed to be quarterly. Quarterly. It's not yearly. It's a quarter thing, as a continuous service is concerned. But in terms of the reset, so already we are working in 3 obedience. January there should be first one, the first quarter, for the third quarter. So we are forfeited 2 already. And as I said, grace is working because the president mentioned it, that when I come, there will be National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service. Even though it was said in error, that showed the attempt for obedience. But on the day that the service is supposed to be held, it was supposed to be done in the company of our traditional heads, which I won't go deeper into it. There are things they're supposed to do. There are things the president is supposed to do. And so as we do all these things, then the foundation, these are spiritual matters. So most of you young people who don't understand some of these things may not get it. But when these things are done, then spiritually, the corrections will be done as the land is concerned. Then the things that the traditionalists will do, then now it will help the nation. Then the foundation is reset. Then the good things will begin to happen. I remember among the 7 covenant blessings, the last one, God said that any little thing that the citizens will do will prosper. Any little thing that the citizens will do will prosper. I shared extensively on the covenant blessings. Check my bio, is there. During the time, before the time of the campaign, I shared extensively on the 7 covenant blessings that goes with the obedience of the National Prayer and Thanksgiving. Is there. You can go back and check it. Those who are watching on TikTok is there. I think Facebook is also there. I think YouTube is also there. DZIWORNU TV broadcast is there. So let me crown it. So tonight, the Lord asked me to brief you about the whole truth about Ghana, the errors about the foundations, how it's supposed to be corrected, why the president, Mills, Akufo-Addo, Mahama, their roles they are supposed to play to bring the nation back, the role that the traditional heads supposed to play to bring this nation back, to correct the errors that were committed. And as I did mention, some of the errors are the blood of the judges were crying against the nation, the act of betrayal, and the souls of ancestors were fighting. So anything we try to plant and do, it doesn't work. Thirdly, the importation of other spirits and gods into our nation. And because Ghana is not a particular religious nation, it's a secular nation, our foundation is open to anything. So these were the things that is befalling the nation. Why God asked for the introduction of the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service. That through it, things that we'll do will be able to correct everything. We'll correct it. Coach MFR said that please hope you recorded it so we can be able to circulate to reach to the people. Yes, it's being recorded. So when we are done, we'll replay, we'll cut it. But when we are done, you can watch the full broadcast on Facebook and YouTube. The full broadcast is there. on TikTok, because it can't take long videos, maybe we'll segment it and post it there. But you can watch the rebroadcast of everything I'm saying. Since 3 days now, they are all on my in our Facebook page and also our YouTube page. The handle is DZIWORNU TV broadcast. It is there. Please, you can go and watch it. All right, so let me read these two scriptures to be the foundation which I'm going to speak from. Psalm 11 verse 3. Psalm 11 verse 3. If the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 22 verse 28.
Ghana, land of freedom, freedom. Ghana, we now have freedom. Charms of the brave and the sweat of their labor.